Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
That one felt good. Okay, that one felt good. Bryson Stott, thank you. Thank you. Nick Castellanos, thank you. Brandon Marsh, thank you. And Mundo Sosa. The sack fly matters. The sack fly's important. Thank you for the ninth inning to save me from what I thought was hell. Holy, what a W. This one felt fantastic. For some of the guys to come off of the bench and be a huge impact, it was a special win, and you could feel the energy in the dugout. You could feel the energy with this team. And last year, they showed toughness. Last year, they showed that they will not go down. And this finally felt, for the first time, like last year's team. That was a win that they would have won when they made the managerial change last season and Rob Thompson was at the helm. It felt very similar to last year's team. So that's why I embraced this victory a little bit differently than, let's say, yesterday when they won the first game against the Reds. This one holds a little bit more value in my heart. This one I'm going to be thinking about a little bit longer, even though it's a quick turnaround and they play tomorrow afternoon. So maybe I just lied to you. I try not to lie. I probably won't think about this W as long as I should because you're right back at it. But good for you, Bailey Falter. 5 innings, only 1 earned run. And let's be honest, there were some pitches early on in the couple innings that you thought were going to get creamed, that you thought would probably end up in the stands. There was some hard-hit balls, and you just didn't know exactly how this was going to pan out. But he settled in. Now, unfortunately, the Phillies' offense was super quiet. Unfortunately, they struck out 15 times, and your top 4 hitters were 0 for 13. So that's pretty problematic, and it's not a good way about business. It's not a good way to go about your business is kind of what I'm trying to get at here. So you grinded. You were down. You heard the boos, and rightfully so. They pick up that extra run, so the 1-0 lead goes down to a 2-run deficit or goes up to a 2-run deficit. And let's be honest, nobody felt good. Nobody was happy then. No one thought that that would be the outcome. But they plucked away. And you could see the difference in the rules with the shift, allowing someone like Bryson Stott to do his thing. I'm cracking up. Nick Castellanos is basically touching home plate. He's dancing around the third baseline. You know he's messing with their heads because now they're thinking about, what's happening at third base? Am I focusing on the hitter? Am I focusing on what's happening when a guy's basically already touching home plate? And it's so odd and strange because there were so many things that I hated during the 8 innings. Defensively, with the few bunts, one of the bunts, nobody even went for the baseball. It was just a bunt a couple feet in front of the pitcher's mound. I think Connor Brogdon was on the mound at that point. And between him, JT, Sosa, nothing happened. Then there was the other sequence where first base was open. There's the bunt that happened. It's like, it's killing me. I can't stand it. I can't stand what I'm watching. On top of that, after someone who sucks in Pache finally does something and smacks a double, that pitch was annihilated. He's on second base. So finally, someone who stinks is actually helping the team. And then Kyle Schwarber in the 5th inning. Couldn't make the most of it. But yes, Lodolo was gross. 12 strikeouts. At the same time, I know you want to give credit to the other pitcher and all. You have to do something. They got to their bullpen. Nick earned a walk. plate discipline is something we're all stressing about Nick Castellanos to this point. And let's just hope that continues for a long period of time. But I'm proud of this damn team. The bullpen, Brogdon, Bellotti. Bellotti's the Andrew, give me the fucking ball, Bellotti. It's amazing, is it not? Give me the damn ball, Skip. I want to be on the bump, Skip. It's incredible. And the execution factor is absurd. He's been lights out. He's been basically automatic. I don't know what the numbers say, but the gut says this guy is stellar every time he touches the damn bump. Maybe his usage rate has been a little heavy to this point. I would imagine that at some time here, Rob might lean on other arms, but maybe not. I don't know. He's had 6 outings or so already. They've only played 8 games. I do love the fact, though, that he's willing to put the baseball in his hands. That's important. But let's go back to that 9th. And let's not overlook either, speaking of Nick Castellanos, the play he made in the outfield. Now, the Reds were stupid, but Trey Turner in the infield being deceptive, getting a little cute, throwing them off guard. Teams like Cincinnati are going to make mistakes. What will you do when that's the case? You saw Diaz throw the ball to the backstop. Now you're getting an extra base. Those details matter. Those details are going to be the difference. Keep in mind, another thing that was irritating. When Bryson Stott wasn't running to home plate hard, they get the tag over at third, which ends the inning, and Bryson Stott didn't score because he wasn't busting his ass. Now, it was a weird play. Because when the ball's hit there, you think to yourself, you're not going to be the difference running home with the circumstance of where you're at, bud. You know, you put your head down and you actually bust down the line. Maybe it's different, and you don't have to need a 9th inning comeback. You don't need the heroics from some of your bench players and Boehm getting in there too. You got the W, and that's the important thing. Especially knowing you needed to win this series. You dropped the second game, and now you have a coin flip in game 3. That's problematic. Boos were raining down. Fans were unhappy, rightfully so. That would have been horrible to sleep with that night. But instead, it's flipped completely around. I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. Collectively, before the 9th inning, looking at all the games, there's been some bad base running. There's been some bad defensive mishaps. There's been dumb fundamental baseball. If you clean up the fundamentals, it'll go a long, long way. And now you're seeing the Phillies in that 9th inning take advantage of some of the Cincinnati issues. Whether it's pitching, and there's more than just that, but it was solid for this team to come together. And I'm saying there was more than just that 9th inning, because who knows what could have happened if the Nick Castellanos, Trey Turner thing didn't go down the way that it did, and they didn't make that stupid base running mistake. Maybe there were more runs scored for the Reds in that inning, which would have made the lead bigger. But it wasn't. So then the Phillies executed, and bang. Special win. No denying it. Nick walks, Boehm singles, Marshy, dealing with a little bit of an injury very early in this season, being a bit nicked up. Here's what I do like so far about some of these players from an individual level. Bryson Stott, you saw him in the dugout looking at the iPad when the whole thing went down with him not running to home plate hard enough, and there's some criticism there, legitimate criticism. He just hit a single to walk you off and grab you the win. Made a mistake. You saw the response. Brandon Marsh, we've seen him fail out in center field not too long ago couple games into the season. He responded from that game literally the following night when Rob Thompson gave him the nod back in the lineup, which was a big, quick snap of the fingers. Hey, fellas, I'm sorry. That was my fault, but I have your back today. I apologize. I can't believe that I failed you all, but I'm here, and I'll make sure I make up for it. He did that the next game, which is great. But then again, he even adds to what the damage was. My point is, as you see, a few examples of players having a down spot, but then there's a high not too far after. For Bryce's case, as a young player in this league, it happened the same game. Sometimes it might take a game or two, and then there's 3 games in a row that player, whoever it is in this hypothetical, for this example, they go on a 3-game stretch of 4 hits, 5 hits, 6 hits, whatever. They get 2 hits in 3 straight games. They get 3 hits in a night. They go 3 for 4, 2 for 4, 3 for 4 in 3 straight games. But it wasn't exactly following the same night that a problem occurred. For Stott, it was a couple innings later. The dude is not very far into his career. So there's some guys that you look at differently because you know they're young and you know that there's a learning experience to this all. And I'm valuing that. Stott's ABs are a grind too if you're a starting pitcher. We've seen some beautiful at-bats from him in his short career so far. Long ABs, fouling back pitches, good plate discipline, not chasing. If it's close, but it is outside the box, close, but outside the box, he'll lay off of it. He'll foul some back. For some reason, it gets me pumped. His nickname, Stotty Too Hottie. And if you don't know the reference, go check out Scotty Too Hottie. Back in the day, pro wrestler, fantastic. I think that's right on the money if this is your first time hearing that. But a little Stotty Too Hottie with the walk-off. I want to do something similar to Gene's Jeans last year. The fan club that was up top with the overalls on and wearing all the denim. I want to do something where you dress up as Scotty Too Hottie, the wrestler, and there's just a bunch of them. The Wolf Pack. It's got to happen organically, though. The other day, I saw Trey's Bays. What is there going to be a bunch of hot blondes and a bunch of hot brunettes chilling in one of the sections for Trey Turner? Hey, if that's what it is, good for him. But I'm telling you, we need something for a little Stott. I'm a big fan of it. Big fan. All right. Let's hear from you all. Enough of me. You get enough of me. Let's hear from you.
Big time victory for these guys. I want to highlight something. Bailey Falter is a dog. I was getting fired up watching him walking off the mound after that 5th inning. I was foaming at the mouth. Look at him. Dog out. He's a dog. Keijon Walker, bounce back start tomorrow. You heard it here.
Taijuan Walker? Taijuan Walker didn't have a bad outing last time. I think just the beginning, and he even spoke about this. The adrenaline was super high, and there was a lot of intense energy that maybe led to a few walks early on. But after that, you saw some stuff that was definitely fantastic. Splitter was in action, and you could see his velocity was there. So I'm okay with Taijuan Walker from a broad sense. I was irritated in the moment, but I do know that he's going to be just fine. And yeah, this Cincinnati Reds team is bad, and I'm glad that they put themselves in a position to actually take 3 games here because they desperately need it after they got their asses kicked down in Texas to start the year. I'm with you, though, about Bailey Falter. I'm a big fan for what it is. I have an expectation level on what Bailey Falter is. All right? I don't think he's higher than the tier I have him in, but I look for a certain role out of my 5th starter, and he's done it tremendously. He's keeping you in these games. He's giving your squad a chance to win majority of the time that he takes the mound. That's very, very important for your fifth, fourth, back end of your starting rotation starter. I'm a huge fan. Huge fan. Now, I got you. Maybe some other teams take advantage on some of the pitches. They're talking about the off-speed on the broadcast. Maybe they should use that off-speed to catch the inside part of the plate. Or let's look for a backdoor breaking pitch, and it ended up being in the middle of the zone, but it gets fouled. And it's like, oh, hey. I wanted something off-speed, but definitely not where he located it. All that. A different opponent. Pete Alonso, if you're playing the New York Mets, maybe that thing's 452 feet. If the Yankees were the series and Aaron Judge was in the batter's box, maybe the result is different. But, you needed this. You needed to win this baseball game. You needed to take this series. And seeing how the game was playing out, there was a lot of bad mojo. There's a lot of grunts. A lot of noise and chatter, of sort of whisper where it's like, oh man, hey, you could feel that nervous energy. So for them to somehow twist it and turn it and make it a 180, the way we're feeling right now, it was much needed. There was so many nonsense filled in our stomachs. Seriously, it was so much crap and garbage lately. This was the first time this season that as a collective group of Phillies fans, we were able to have a sigh of relief. Because this represented a brand of baseball. Not the first 8 innings. I'm aware. But the way you don't give up until the final out. The way you keep going. The way you attack those late at-bats. The way that you approach the plate when the moment gets bigger. The way you take the bag that you need to take. You get the second base. You get the third. You get the bag on a sac fly. Or you come home and score a run, but you get my point. You do the little things. The little things are adding up. So we suck today. So we struck out 15 times. How? How are we going to win? What are we going to do? Because losing is not an option. We have to walk. Fine, let's walk. We have to play small ball. Fine, let's play small ball. We have to hit a couple singles. Fine, let's hit those singles. You can't rely on that every night. I'm not a small ball guy. Long term, power wins in this league. Yordan Alvarez. Yeah, the Houston Astros have Yordan Alvarez. Go look up the big moments in the playoffs. Bryce Harper. Kyle Schwarber. That wins long term. But sometimes it's going to be something else. Sometimes you'll have to win in a different way because that night dictates it. Because that flow is kind of where the game lies. Play it as it lies, as I like to use as a reference with golf. Sometimes the flow of the game, you have to play it as it lies. Today was a small ball day after striking out 15 times. So do it. And they did.
What's going on, bros? First off, way to win that game. I mean, got me reminiscent about the Cardinals game 1 with that comeback. 2 things. One, I totally agree. I watched the show yesterday. Sosa needs to be the everyday third baseman with Bowman first. I think Topper's, he needs to make that change. 2, at the moment, I'm moving Bryson Stott up to second in the order. Schwarber, he started off slow last year. Kind of looks like that again. I don't know. I think you can move him down for a little bit, maybe to fourth. But Stott, I thought he would hit second at some point after Turner. in some time in the future, but I think he should do it now. He's just been locked in. So let me hear your thoughts. Thank you.
I appreciate the call. I love you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Clearly listened to the whole show yesterday and then calling in. So thank you so much for all that. But I am going to have to respectfully disagree with your thoughts on moving Kyle Schwarber. First off, not too long ago, he hit home runs in back-to-back days. Kyle Schwarber does traditionally take a little bit longer to show his pure self. Let's be honest. It takes, the June. That's when things start to shift, and that's when he starts hitting nukes constantly. But no, I don't want him to get less at-bats. If I told you Kyle Schwarber, or I should say it this way, if I asked you who you wanted to get more at-bats in a season, Bryson Stott or Kyle Schwarber, the answer is pretty obvious. The answer is automatic. I want Kyle Schwarber at the plate more than Bryson Stott throughout the entire 162. So there's no way I'm moving Kyle Schwarber out of that 2 spot. He should only be hitting 1 or 2 in my opinion. And Trey Turner, I like in the number 1 spot, especially with Bryce Harper out. We can have a conversation when Bryce Harper returns because I'm not batting Schwarber and Bryce back-to-back in your 2 and 3. What I think I'm going to do is have Bryce Harper bat cleanup so you can put Turner in the 1, Kyle Schwarber 2, do whatever you want at 3, whether you move around JT or keep JT at 3, however you elect to do it. Bryce Harper at 4, and that's kind of how I'm going about business. But Kyle Schwarber should stay in the 2 hole. There's no reason to move Kyle Schwarber. Bryson Stott is a nice young player right now. He's a bottom half of your order guy. That's what he is right now in his career. Does he ever eventually become a leadoff guy? Maybe not with Trey Turner here. I hate to break it to you. That's Trey Turner slot or Kyle Schwarber spot. That is not Bryson Stott's spot. I like Bryson Stott. He has value hitting late in your lineup. I am not a big fan of putting Bryson Stott towards the top. That's not who he is right now. I could see a day. The problem is you signed Trey Turner here for a big deal, but I'm just saying in general, if you told me 4 years down the road, Bryson Stott could earn the stripes of being a leadoff hitter in Major League Baseball, I can get behind that theory. But for right now, I'm not moving where Bryson Stott is. I like where we're at. I like where we're at. You know what Schwarber is. He gets hot, he gets cold. Every time he goes through a, quote, cold streak, even though he just had 2 games in a row where he hit the long ball, I'm not toying around with everything. This is the belief. This is the thought process of the lineup. What we've seen to this point at the top. It's a good one. It's a good one. That's something I'm willing to let ride out. There's others that I don't necessarily agree with when it comes to Rob so far. Certain managerial decisions in game. Certain lineup stuff with first base. There's areas that I am confused with Rob. The top of the order, I get the logic. And I'm going to play the long game with it. Schwarber has a proven track record. Although last year I had to fight with people every day about the leadoff spot, so I think the obvious moves even get debated, unfortunately. But anyway, I do disagree with you.
It's bedlam at the bank. Well, maybe not bedlam, but a nice win by the Phillies. I mean, if this were a boxing match, you would say they survived a couple early knockdowns, maybe had a standing 8 count, but rallied late and got the late round stoppage. I mean, I've bashed Nick Castellanos as much as anybody, but his at-bat to start the bottom of the ninth set the whole thing up. Hung in there against the tough pitcher, drew the walk, and the rest is history. I mean, offensively, you know, anybody that says striking out is just another out, I think is crazy. When you don't put the ball in play, I think it severely hampers you, and that showed for 8 innings. But when the Phillies had to play small ball, they dug deep and got it done. like you said, Hunter, we got to sweep these guys. We got to get it done tomorrow on Easter Sunday. Go Phils.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And I want to make it clear, I'm proud on how they did it today. I fight the get off my lawn people. Not that Sean's a get off my lawn guy. We love Sean. But when this stuff happens, the get off my lawn people say, see, you have to do this to it. Once in a blue moon. Once in a blue moon. To be fair, though, the game has changed without the shift. That Bryson Stott play is probably just a traditional ground out last season. So the field is more open for these type of ground balls to get through. You look at the first base, hugging the first base line a little bit, maybe a half inch or two cheating towards second base. Maybe the inning doesn't necessarily play out the same way. There's a lot of what ifs. So there is more room to operate. I am definitely admitting that. And on this given day, that's what they needed, and damn it, they showed up. The bank was rocking. The celebration felt similar to the team we connected with. And that makes me happy. And if you could finish the job tomorrow, I'm going to be stoked. That's a great way to start this 6-game homestand that I think was really going to set the tone on where we were going moving forward. Because even though you'll say, well, it's only been 4 series, there's a lot of series left. Yes. But if in your first 6 series you piss yourself, I'm going to hate it. It's just that simple. I'm going to be pissed. And then you're always playing catch-up. And I just feel if you're constantly playing catch-up, at some point you're using so much of what you have in you, you run out of gas. I want to play from in front. I don't want to be playing from behind all the damn time. It was too much last year, and I demand we do it a different way this season. This 6-game homestand was going to tell me something about this team. We'll take one more call.
What's going on, Birds? What a game. I still have mixed emotions about this game. I mean, it should have been tied going into the 8th inning. Stott, there's no reason that he can't hustle from third to home. But then again, he made up for it with that walk-off hit. But in my opinion, we should have scored. The Reds should not have had more than 1 run. I mean, it was just pathetic. Good outing by Billy Falter. The first 2 innings, he was not locating at all. He might have got bailed by the Reds' shitty lineup. But, I mean, I don't know. It was very frustrating. 15 strikeouts today, I think it was. Just very frustrating. I'm glad we find a way to pull it out, but we got to get better as runners in scoring position, and we got to get better at fielding a bunt. That's little league. Just, I don't know. And hustling from third to home. We got to get better. But glad we won. Let's go Phillies.
They will get better. They will get better. Wait for Bryce Harper to be in this lineup. You can see how much you're missing Reese, though. For all the Reese haters and all the slander over the years saying this guy's not worth it because he sucks defensively, you don't just replace 30 home runs. You don't replace his professionalism in the batter's box. You don't just replace the run production. It's legit. So it sucks thinking about that at times. I do. I'm not going to lie. I look at the lineup. I look where they're at. I realize there's no runs on the board. I think about what could have been. I think about how much deeper the lineup is. I think about how much tougher it gets as an opposing pitcher. But when Bryce gets slotted back, it changes the game for sure. And I know he's coming soon. I know he's coming back before we all think he's coming back. I could sense it. I could feel it in my bones. But anyway, We'll talk again tomorrow. Have a great Easter, everybody. Happy Passover to all those who celebrate as well. And yes, that is where we're ending. Sweep these bastards tomorrow. Talk to you then.